Have I got your attention? Warriors, we need to talk about something very important. The Warriors collaborates with law enforcement. And recently, I was part of a discussion about something that is happening in our school systems across the country that we want to make all of you aware of. Kids recruiting kids in the schools. There are no exemptions. This is happening in every town, city, and rural area in America. And I know, Warriors, shocking. But let's review what's happening. The definition of trafficking is the use of fraud, or coercion to force somebody into some sort of sexual exploitation or forced labor. We have kids in public schools as young as 10, boys and girls, being prostituted. Let's talk about why this is happening. Let's talk about why the predators, the criminals, the traffickers are finding our schools such a playground. The key to all this, vulnerability. That's it, Warriors. I'm going to keep telling you this over and over again. And kids, I don't care if they're 3 or they're 19, vulnerable. Why, heck, we're all vulnerable, right? Especially after coming out of the last couple of years in a very dark environment. So what happens is we have to remember wherever the kids are, so are the predators. So the predators enlist their soldiers, other kids going to school with kids, and they seek out vulnerable kids. And I want you to keep in mind that as kids go to new schools, whether it's middle or high school or college campus, kids want to fit in, right? They want to be part of the crowd. And they're lonely, a lot of social anxiety going to a new environment. Even if they don't switch schools, new classrooms, new teachers, the whole 9 yards, and I think you understand. The groomers, child groomers, are in these classrooms. Now, why are they doing it? I think you know. It's always the same answer. Follow the money. It's always the money. Do you think kids want to work at the mini mart, bagging groceries, retail clerk at the local mall? Uh, I don't know, being a server at a restaurant when they can make a lot, thousands of dollars in bringing the adult criminals, the predators, the traffickers, another child. And you might say, because a lot of people say this to me, why don't they just run away once the teen or middle schooler knows what's going on? You have to understand the process of grooming. The person is so beaten down, sometimes both physically, physical assault, physical harm, but the psychological impact is almost worse. They're not running anywhere. They're psychologically beaten down. We have to get on top of this because I'm not hearing anyone in the media really talking about this. Kids recruiting kids. If you sign up, and I urge all of you for the Lynn's Warriors newsletter, which goes out every Wednesday, weekly Warriors newsletter, go to the website, lynswarriors.org. Scroll down on the right side, e-newsletter. Couldn't be simpler because I wrote extensively today about this. We have to get on top of this. So you say, well, what am I going to do about this? It's interesting. Today was Radio Day, WVOX, and I had a great friend and a partner of the Warriors, Chris McKenna, founder of Protect Young Eyes. And he is all about creating digital safe spaces for you and your family. And when I asked him on air today, what would you recommend? What are the conversations to be had with the kids? He said, talk to them, communicate. Not pointing your finger talk, really make them our partners in all of this. This is a national crisis. So sit with them. So what I recommend is you start talking to them, whether it's 5 minutes a day, an hour a week, I don't care. We need to do this constantly and preferably each and every day. Ask them, first of all, know what's going on in their school. Remember, let's go back to last week. We were talking a lot about parental autonomy. That is the law. You are in charge. So you also have a duty, and this is not to blame anybody, parents or caregivers or grandparents. We need full family members brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, everybody in on this, because I am telling you that the criminals are winning. So when I'm told from law enforcement, our schools now are full of child traffickers recruiting, they're recruiting for the adults. We don't want this to happen to your child. So you have to sit with your child. You have to communicate. First of all, you have to know what's going on in the school. Remember, parental autonomy. You can opt out of any class. Your child can choose to opt out of any class, but you have to know what's going on. What is the curriculum? Number one, research. You've got to find out who's the principal, who are the teachers, do a little background, okay? Find out what kind of groups are in the school. Find out what's in that library. You have every right. Don't be shy about this. These are our children, after all, our precious kids, our futures, everything, future of America. Okay. Talk to your child. Have they heard about sex trafficking in the school? Have they ever been approached in the school? Does the school have sex trafficking, any kind of human trafficking education? Because the warriors, we are, I almost said a word, but I don't want to say it. Anyway, we are blank bent on getting human trafficking education into K through 12, every classroom, every school in the United States. So find out, first of all, does the school offer anything? Have there been any discussions? Because we offer warrior workshops, and every child needs to be part of a warrior workshop. So you have to start with the communication. And that's what our friend Chris McKenna was telling us today. He does thousands of presentations in schools and churches and community centers. And he was telling me the presentations, he used to make to ninth graders. He's now making to fifth and sixth graders. Those presentations for fifth and sixth graders now belong down to third graders. Chris believes the age to get in their middle school years, 5, 6, 7, 8, right in there, because the average age for sex trafficking, 12 to 14. However, we do know the demand is for younger and younger, and it's heading in that direction. So we've got to get to the kids practically when they're out of the womb. And I'm not being drastic, I'm being realistic. So kids recruiting other kids belongs to no race. It belongs to no class. We have kids that have been recruited that come from a family of doctors, families of law enforcement. We have honor roll students, those straight A students. We have sports stars. We have those who have stable households and those who have unstable households. Right? We have any child with a lot of social anxiety, which seems to be almost all the kids after COVID. So you see the key factor here, the common denominator, is vulnerability. So you have a duty as the parent, as the caregiver, to get on top of this. But it starts with partnering with your child and talking to other family members and knowing what's going on in that school. Kids recruiting kids. It's hard to say, but it's the reality. It's 2022. So it's time for you. Go to lynswarriors.org. Look at what we're offering. Look at the warrior workshops. We will come to any school, church, community center, and we will provide for you. Also, do yourself a favor. Go to protectyoungeyes.com. I will have that interview up shortly on our website. And Chris does a terrific job. He creates safer digital spaces, which includes communication, routers, everything you need to know to keep yourself and your kids, your family safe. He also has on the website a terrific blog that has all these different devices, apps that he will direct you, what they're about and how you can use safety features on them. We were talking because recently we've had Instagram make some changes. We've had Snapchat, a favorite of the kids, make changes. TikTok. The ages for TikTok are getting younger and younger and younger. So big tech, apps, games, platforms. Of course, these companies have not done enough. They're going back and retrofitting, as our friend Chris McKenna tells us, instead of what we want is when they create and design to build in the safety features. So think about all of this. I am going to be telling you these same things over and over again because our goal at the Warriors, if we help one person, one child a day, we have done our job. So please, I urge all of you, so much great free information, protectyoungeyes.com, lynswarriors.org. Know what's happening in the schools. I know, Warriors, we got a lot of other issues going on right now. We've got gender, we've got the woke teachers, we've got teachers quitting in droves. I am here right in the middle of New York City. Another bus or two, because I think they're dropping people off or just not hearing about it. But they showed they showed a bus this morning of migrants that being dropped off. And bear in mind, that's not just happening in big cities. There's only so much room here in New York, in Chicago, in LA, in San Francisco. Those people will be farmed out into your communities. That is the plan. That means these children, who we can all agree, children are innocent. We need to protect all kids, will be in your child's classroom. We have a lack of teachers right now. We have these educators not teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic, but genders. We have a librarian right here in New York, Columbia Grammar School, a very considered elite, very expensive, $66,000 base price a year. And if you know anything about private schools, there's always additional costs on top of that. $66,000. My question is, they've been worried about her, this article I read today, since 2015, because she pushes there is no gender, white men something gender. Why are they waiting until now, 7 years later, to get rid of her? I mean, it's fashionable now, I guess, to talk about all these issues, but where's everybody been as this has been percolating? Because I went back and did a very quick study last week about gender. Why all of a sudden is this just the top of the list popping out? And I thought, this can't just have happened overnight. There must be a little history to this. And indeed, and again, I did a very quick, what we call cursory investigation. And all of this started percolating around 2015. So it's been there, but we have not been keeping an eye on everything. How are we going to keep an eye on it? We used to send our kids to school, not think twice about it. That was a safe space, right? Pick them up later on in the day. They come home on the school bus, different world. How fast it has changed. You have to know what's going on in those schools right now. And not everybody, since 2020, 2 million children have been removed from the public school system. Where did they go? Homeschooling, parochial and private schools, charter schools, which right now I'm told there is a waiting list to get into each and every one of these charter schools all over the United States. We have to be careful with that also, because although right now the charter schools are, largely, what would be the word, based on reading, writing, arithmetic, and the kids, if you look at the studies, are scoring less money spent per pupil, but scoring higher than the public schools. But those schools, and this is what we have to keep an eye on, those right now they're considered conservative, back to basics. There could be a woke charter school. I don't want to give anybody ideas. So you have to know what's going on. And not everybody can afford private and parochial, okay? Or get into one even. And not everybody can homeschool. How about the mom that has 2 or 3 jobs? Can't do it. So we have to take what we have. They have to become afraid of us. They have to know that we're on board. So we need all of you. We can't do this alone. We need warriors. We need you to get involved in the schools. We need you to know, who are these teachers? What are they teaching? We need you to know, don't be shy. Go right in there. You don't like something? Opt out. Talk to your child. Go to that library. You have a right to visit. See what's happening. We need you on board because it's out of control. But we at the Warriors refuse to let our youth be exploited. And you, as parents and caregivers, grandparents, family units, working so hard to make ends meet, further your careers, your goals, just keep on top of things with your families. That's why we're here for you. Chris McKenna, protectyoungeyes.com. Excellent, excellent job with tech stuff. He breaks it down. It's simple. I also read today the saddest thing in talking about these migrants coming here. 2 children drowned and a 2-month-old boy clinging to life in the Rio Grande River, swept away from their mother. These aren't the first children to die. We don't hear about it. We can't blame them, warriors. They're told, come here. The doors are open. Most are seeking. What they still tell me is they think the streets are paved with gold. We know better. That's what they think. And they want to bring their kids here and do better. You can't blame them. But we must, our American children must come first, be at the top of the list. When every day in the United States, and this is something I don't understand, 2,300 children approximately go missing every day. Do the math, warriors. 2,300. Why isn't the media talking about this? Why aren't people out in the streets screaming? Do we get these kids back? Where do the kids go? What's happening? Yes, some are family situations, some are abductions, some are sex trafficking, some are forced labor, some are runaways. Doesn't matter. They're kids, they're minors. Where are all the kids? Why aren't we talking about it? What you can do in 2022 is you can become a warrior in your own home, in your own community. Know what's going on in these schools. And if you have a child in private school, parochial school, charter school, I don't care. Know what's going on. Again, lynswarriors.org. We appreciate all of your donations, all of your attention. We'll be announcing next week we're launching our Warriors workshops and tours here in the Northeast. Our hopes are to travel across the country, give you the information you need, boots on the ground, and gain a lot of warriors, because I know you're all out there. So I want to thank you. Thank you for listening to this. But I want to thank you if you go ahead and do one thing each day. Retweet something I've tweeted. Share a fact I put on Facebook. Go to the website. Read, educate yourselves, because that is my job to help you. And that makes you one of our warriors.